It's Amy, your Gray Girlfriend, and welcome to the Gray Girlfriend's Guide to Life podcast. First, let me say that I'm so happy and grateful that you're here with me. Out of the more than 3 million podcasts available, you chose this one, so thank you. This podcast was created for high-achieving women, real women who face and conquer real challenges, real women who are ready to take their lives to the next level. Between us all, we've been through it all, and I'm here to tell you, you can thrive despite it. So whether you're commuting to or from work or doing one of the other 50,000 things you do on a weekly basis, pop in your earbuds, my friend, and let's go. Today's episode is entitled Just Stop Dancing. Have you ever noticed how those closest to us can push our buttons quicker than any acquaintance ever could? Have you ever noticed that those same people often act as though we're extensions of them, failing to see us as separate beings with separate goals or separate values or separate desires? Maybe they ask way too many details about your decision, such as, why are you buying a new house now? Don't you know that mortgage rates are going up? Or do you really need a new car? Or where exactly was your conference last week? Or maybe they give you unsolicited advice and then get angry when you don't take it. I think you should wait 6 months and then look for a new home. Or, there's nothing wrong with your car. I think you should save your money. Or, I don't think you should fly halfway across the country for a one-day seminar. That's ridiculous. It doesn't matter that you are ready to buy a new home, or that you want the new car now, or that you would have flown to another continent had that particular seminar been offered. Here's another one. Maybe you ask them for their perspective on a topic, and then they get angry when you don't share it. You ask me what I thought about an open border policy, and then you disagree with me. Or you ask me why I'm voting for candidate XYZ, and you tell me you're voting for the other guy. You're canceling out my vote. Or you ask for my opinion on which house to buy, and then you go and buy the other one. Why did you waste my time going to look at those houses? Regardless of the case, those closest to you can fail to see that your decisions are in fact your decisions, and they fail to see that you are allowed to have an opinion that is different than their own. These exchanges don't necessarily have to be over big things. They can be over relatively benign things as well. For example, maybe your mother hosts family dinner the first Wednesday every month and you'd like to participate. And although you wouldn't say your relationship with your family is great, you nonetheless love them. And by them, you mean your folks, your brother and sister, and her family. However, your mom insists on everyone being at her home at 5:30, which isn't practical for you because you can't leave the office before 5:30, and then you have to drive across town in rush hour traffic, which means you can't get to your parents' home until 6:15. From your perspective, you get there as early as you possibly can. But from your mother's perspective, you are habitually 45 minutes late. So every time you walk in the door, it's the same scene. You're late again, your mother says in her signature shaming tone. The kids are ready for dessert and you're just getting here. I get here as quickly as I can, Mom, you say, trying to hide the irritation with logic. I only ask you to be on time once a month, she snaps back. Yes, Mom, but you know I can't leave the office before 5:30, and then I have to cross town in rush hour traffic, you say, again, hoping logic will diffuse the situation. I'm just saying, your brother and sister get her on time, and your sister has 3 children, but you can't manage to be on time once a month, she chides. And then you do what you always do at that point. You stop trying to inject logic into the situation because you know it will only leave you frustrated. You've asked your mother countless times over the 2 years since you, quote, moved back home to change dinner to 6:15 on that one day each month, but she refuses to budge from her and your father's normal dinner time. So you, once again, take the seat of shame at the table, glancing at the partially eaten food on everyone's plate before you spoon room temperature pasta onto yours. As usual, your father looks sympathetic but says nothing in your defense, returning his attention to his plate. Your brother snickers, then shakes his head. When your brother-in-law is there, he smiles meekly, then looks away. And your sister starts her usual virtue signaling comments about how difficult it is to round up 3 children, omitting the fact that she doesn't work outside the home and that she homeschools her children, giving her complete autonomy over her and thus her children's schedules. It's the same situation every time. It's the same conversation every time. Your mother is angry at you because you won't comply with her rule. And you are angry at your mother because she won't compromise her rule to accommodate you. It's not as though you can control your schedule. I mean, if you would, you could, if for no other reason than to avoid the monthly shame fest that was originally cast as family dinner. Your mother, on the other hand, has full control over her schedule, but is unwilling to adjust it to accommodate yours. Again, it's the same situation. It's the same conversation. It's a dance of anger. This term, dance of anger, was coined by Harriet Lerner in her book by the same title. When I first read this incredible book, I felt as though the author had been a fly on the wall in every conversation I had with my mother and most of the conversations I'd had with my father as an adult. I learned from Miss Lerner that those who are the closest to us emotionally know how to push our buttons more than any acquaintance ever could. It's because we are emotionally intimate with them that they know just what to say to drive us to the edge of sanity. They say this and you react by saying that. Then they react to your reaction, and then you react to their reaction of your reaction. It's the same every time. It's a dance, albeit it's not pretty to watch, but it is perfectly choreographed. The late, great Bob Fosse couldn't have done it any better. Any of that sound familiar? Different faces, different places, different events perhaps. But if I were a betting woman, I would bet that this story is similar to your story to some degree. These dances, these patterns of behavior are practically cemented in childhood. Maybe your attempts at saying no were met with scorn or ridicule or punishment or shame. Maybe you were called disrespectful or rude or selfish if you wanted something different for yourself than what was offered. Then we grew up, hauling those same patterns into our adult relationships, be it father, mother, sister, brother, husband, wife, or BFF. So what do you do when you're sick and tired of having Groundhog Day encounters with the people you're closest to? You set boundaries. If you have no boundaries, or you have weak boundaries, you have to first change your idea of what boundaries are. You have to change your perspective of them. From this point forward, I want you to imagine your life as a garden. Some days it's full of beautiful blooms and gorgeous vegetables and buzzing bees and flitting butterflies. And other days it feels like someone's trampling over your flower beds, ripping your tomatoes from the vines, and digging up your sweet potatoes long before they're ready. That's where boundaries come in, but not as walls to keep the world out, but as loving fences to help your garden flourish. After all, you spend lots of time and energy planning and planting and watering and weeding your life. Setting personal boundaries isn't about being selfish or shutting people out. It's about showing up for yourself so you can show up for others, but with energy and clarity and a whole lot more joy. Think of boundaries as your personal no trespassing signs. They are the invisible lines that say, hey, this is where I end and you begin. Boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about inviting the right people into your life on your terms. They are the limits we set with people, indicating what we find acceptable and unacceptable and how they treat us. Boundaries are your way of saying, I matter, my feelings matter, my time matters. Boundaries are a big deal. They're a big deal because they can change your life. Here are 4 benefits of having good, solid boundaries. First, boundaries are the foundation of true self-care. When you say no to what drains you, you're saying yes to what fills you up, what makes your heart sing. You're not being selfish, you're being smart, and your future you will thank you for it. Second, boundaries are your compass. They keep you from losing yourself in other people's expectations. They help you get clear on who you are, what you value, and what you simply won't put up with. Without boundaries, it's easy to morph into a people-pleasing chameleon. And oh my God, is that exhausting. Third, boundaries save you from burnout and resentment. And I want you to raise your hand if you've ever felt totally wiped out after saying yes one too many times. I mean, my hand's up over here. That totally wiped out feeling is your body's way of saying, hey, you need a boundary over here. You got a hole in the fence. The squirrels are digging up the tulip bulbs. When you set limits, you protect yourself from burnout and resentment and that shitty feeling of being taken for granted. Fourth, boundaries make relationships better. Seriously, it may not ring true in this moment, but once you have boundaries in place, you will quickly find that this is the case. Because here's the thing, boundaries don't push people away. They invite respect and trust and real connection. When you're honest about your needs, you give others the chance to show up for you in meaningful ways. And that's how you build relationships that actually feel good. And last but not least, boundaries are your communication superpower. They help you speak your truth without starting a war. Miss Lerner taught me to use I statements, such as, I feel defeated when I'm expected to be at your house at 5:30 when I can't leave work before 5:30. Or, I feel unheard and that my dreams don't matter when I tell you that I have final exams next week and you insist on my driving 2 hours one way to attend a church function. And although these I statements didn't transform all of my conversations from tense to terrific, they were the first step in setting and maintaining boundaries. So what do boundary issues look like? Well, they can look like overfunctioning, where you find yourself doing everything for people. Or the opposite, they can look like underfunctioning, where you find yourself letting others take the reins in your life to make decisions for you. So if you recognize your behavior as either overfunctioning or underfunctioning, step back for a moment, check in with yourself, and then ask yourself what you really need. So how do you set boundaries without the guilt trip, you may ask? Well, here are 5 steps. Step 1, get clear on what you need. Ask yourself, what makes me feel safe? What makes me feel respected and valued? Where do I feel drained or uncomfortable? And listen to what your anger is trying to tell you. It's a great guide for where boundaries are needed. And journaling is a great tool for gaining clarity. So feel free to use these questions that I just asked as journal prompts. Number 2, start small and be specific. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Just pick one area. Maybe it's family conversations that leave you feeling drained. Or maybe it's asking your friends to not post any photos of you on social media without your consent. Be clear and be polite. For example, you can say, Mom, I can't have this conversation with you. You need to work this out with Dad. Or, please don't post any photos on me on social media without my consent. I'm not comfortable posting anything about my private life. Number 3, use I statements. Speak your truth without blaming or shaming. Try something like this. I feel overwhelmed when I'm expected to attend every family event. I need some weekends to myself. Number 4, expect some pushback, but stand your ground. Change can be uncomfortable, and others will most likely not like this. They will test your limits, and some people will push back hard. But pay attention. The people who get upset when you create boundaries are the very people who benefit from you not having them. They will act worse at first in an effort to make you change back. Ms. Lerner called these counter moves. And if you find yourself experiencing these counter moves, just stay calm and remind yourself, hey, they're trying to get me to change back, but I'm not going to do that. Then repeat your boundary. And most importantly, remember this, you're not responsible for how other people react. And number 5, give yourself grace. Setting boundaries is a skill. It's not a one-time event. It's not this one and done deal. It's a lifelong practice that requires courage and self-reflection and a willingness to love and respect yourself. And like any new skill, it takes practice. You'll make mistakes, but that's okay. But celebrate your progress and remind yourself that you are worthy of respect. There's practical magic of boundaries, and here's what happens when you start setting them. First, you protect your emotional and your physical space. You get to decide who gets access to your time and your energy and your attention. Second, you stop absorbing other people's stress. You're no longer responsible for fixing everyone's problems or carrying around their emotional baggage. Third, you reclaim your time. You prioritize what matters most and you say no to what doesn't. Fourth, you prevent future drama. Clear boundaries mean fewer misunderstandings and less resentment. Fifth, you grow your independence. You learn to trust yourself and to make decisions that honor your true self. Do you need some examples of using boundaries in real life? Well, here are 4. With family, when asked an intrusive question such as, "Where did you say your conference was?" politely answer, "I didn't say," and then change the subject. If the overbearing family member asks again, politely say, "Why do you ask?" If the questioning continues, then politely say, "Help me understand why you keep asking me the same question over and over." Remember, friend, you matter. You get to decide what to share and what not to share, not anyone else. And just as it's emotionally healthy to not answer intrusive questions, it's also emotionally healthy to set limits on visits, as well as walking away from heated arguments. Some practical examples with friends. It's okay to say no to plans when you need downtime, or to ask them to not share your private details. Online, it's okay to limit your social media time, to unfollow accounts that drain you, or ask to not have photos of you posted without your consent. At work, it's okay to not answer emails after hours or say no to extra projects, and it's okay to ask for help when you need it. If you're new to setting boundaries, there are likely a few myths fighting for your headspace right now. So first, let's bust those myths, and then we'll talk about the ripple effect of having good boundaries. Here are 3 myths. Myth number 1, setting boundaries is selfish. That is so not true. The truth is, boundaries are all about self-respect. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Myth number 2, boundaries will ruin your relationships. Again, so not true. The truth is, healthy boundaries actually make relationships stronger, deeper, and more authentic. Myth number 3, if you say no, people won't like you. Again, so not true. The truth is, the right people will respect your honesty. The right people will respect your time. And those who don't, they're probably not the right people to begin with. And as I said before, the people who will get upset by your having boundaries are the very people who benefit from you not having them. So we've busted the myths. Now let's talk about the ripples. When you start setting boundaries, something amazing happens. First, you feel more confident and self-assured. Each time you honor your needs, you reinforce your sense of worth. Second, you attract healthier relationships. People who respect your boundaries are more likely to be supportive and trustworthy. Third, you experience less stress and more joy. With fewer obligations and more time for what matters, life feels lighter and more fulfilling. Fourth, and this is huge, you break generational cycles. By modeling healthy boundaries, you teach others, especially children, that it's okay to speak up and prioritize themselves. Are you ready to put a bow on this? I am. The takeaway, my friend, is short and sweet. You matter. Your feelings matter. Your time matters. Remember, you can't change anyone but yourself. But if you find yourself in a dance of anger, you can change the situation. You just stop dancing. Wishing you peace and plenty of ripple effects. Until next time, this is Amy, your gray and well-boundaried girlfriend. Hey, it's Amy. Did you know that what we tell ourselves about ourselves impacts every decision we make? Every decision. So if you're feeling stuck in any aspect of your life, RTT can help. Want to know more? Go to amyblairlawson.com or click on the calendar link in the show notes to schedule your complimentary 30-minute consultation. Oh, one last thing. I can't forget the legal stuff. You know what I'm talking about. The language a lawyers write that I have to read to you. Well, here it goes. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. While I am a rapid transformational therapy practitioner, a certified divorce financial analyst, and a licensed investment advisor, this podcast is not intended as a substitute for a private session or a consultation. Got it? All right. Until next time, wishing you peace and plenty of all good things.